Say yes, go ahead.
Yeah.
Gave you the thumbs up.
You know, people.
Good evening. You ready? You going to give me a countdown, or you ready? Go. Okay. Good evening. Welcome to the Danvers Zoning Board of Appeals. My name is Becky Kilborn. I'll be the chair tonight. If you would like an agenda, if you didn't already get one, they're out by the door. In terms of procedures for tonight, we have 4 cases on the agenda, and the second one, 9 Clark Street, is going to be moved to last, so we'll be taking case number 1, 3, 4, and moving number 2 to the bottom, so you'll have an order for tonight. And I'm going to ask everybody to silence your phones if you have a phone, so they're not ringing. And I would like to introduce the members of the board. I'll go all the way down to my right is John Bowner, Jeff Sauer, Ken Scholes, who will be our clerk tonight. I'm Becky Kilborn. I'll be the chair tonight. To my left, Ken Jarbinin and Corrine Doherty, who will be our alternate tonight, but will be helping us with these cases. So the procedure for tonight's meeting is the clerk will read the notice of the hearing, and then we will ask the applicant to go to the microphone. We are on Danvers Cable TV, so please speak into the microphone so that everyone can hear you. The applicant will present their information, and then we'll go to the board for questions regarding the application. After that, we'll go to the audience for any questions or comments regarding the application, and then we'll go back to the board for deliberation. And based on the information that's presented, I will give the applicant their options for moving forward. And I think we also have tonight Georgia Pendergast from the Planning Department to help us out. And I think that's everything. I have minutes from the last meeting from November 8th. Can I have a motion to accept those?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Anything else that I missed?
I think you're
Okay,
good.
Let's go.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Our first case is 20 Arch Meadow Drive. This is zoned highway corridor. Request for a special permit in accordance with Danvers Zoning Bylaw, Section 9.4, storage containers, to allow long-term outdoor storage of 4 storage containers to be located within the existing outdoor storage area for longer than 180 consecutive calendar days. Request for a variance from Section 9.4 in Table 3 of the Danvers zoning bylaw to allow 2 storage containers with 11 feet of front setback where 25 feet is required. Request is made by Salem Plumbing Supply Company, Inc., docket 21-4958.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you very much. My name is Nancy McCann. I'm here on behalf of the applicant, Salem Plumbing Supply. With me tonight is Jason Sevenor, president of Salem Plumbing Supply and also the owner of the property, and Austin Turner, who is project engineer. The board will recall back in August we were before you for approval to use an existing fenced-in paved storage area in conjunction with the new Salem Plumbing Supply location, which is located at the end of the building there. You see the dashed existing storage area on this plan, and this board approved that outdoor sales and storage area. You approved the size of it, both of which required the variance, and at the time that we appeared before you, we advised you as part of that application that we would be going to the planning board to seek approval to put storage containers within that storage area in addition to the outdoor storage of inventory. Some of the plumbing supplies we want to be able to keep enclosed to keep them out of inclement weather. But at the time we were before you in August, the planning board was the board that granted approval for long-term storage containers. So we advised you at that time we'd be going to the planning board for that approval, and then we received the variances from this board for the storage area, and we filed the application with the planning board for the long-term storage trailers to be located in the storage area. and it overlapped and coincided with the recent zoning amendments that were done on November 15th. And those zoning amendments, one of which changed the jurisdiction for long-term storage trailers to this board. So I met with planning staff, and they said, well, you filed with the planning board, we'll just change the application, and I refiled it with this board because you now have the authority over the long-term storage trailers. If you had that back in August when we were here, we would have handled it all at that time. So that's why we're back, because we overlapped and kind of got caught in between the zoning amendment changes. So we are seeking a special permit to allow 4 outdoor storage trailers to be located within the previously approved fenced-in storage area. And 2 of those storage trailers do not meet the setback requirement from East Coast Road. I think you want me to take this with me. So this is the, uh-oh.
I'll be back.
Okay. Yikes. So you see the outlined area of the storage area. It is existing, as we discussed with you back in August. It's fenced. There's decorative slatting. And the reason we're here tonight are for these 4 storage trailers, and you do have the details on part of the application. And these 2 storage trailers that'll be located as you enter the outdoor storage area on the right-hand side are 11 feet from what is a front lot line to East Coast Road. And that requires a variance. These 2 located up here are complying with the 25-foot setback. So that's the reason we're here. Special permit is because the storage trailers are going to be there on a regular basis. More than 180 days, I believe, is under the new regulation. So that requires a special permit from you. And we're proposing 4 of them. And then we have the 2 that require the variance from the front setback. The application outlines the fact that other than the items that I've mentioned with regard to the setback, we do meet all of the requirements for the storage containers. They are located on a graded asphalt surface. The containers will be located more than 10 feet from the existing building. The storage area will be screened with existing mature vegetation as well as the slatted fencing. The containers will not be placed on any required parking area. The containers will not be stacked. The only plumbing supplies will be stored in these containers, no hazardous materials. And there will be nothing stored above the storage containers. There will be no inventory outside that's higher than the fencing. Other than the setback variance relative to 2 of the containers, all of the performance standards are met. So, I did also provide the requirements for the special permit, the standard requirements. We do meet all of those requirements. I can go through those if you want. That's part of the application. Be happy to answer any questions.
Can you just give us a little overview of the planning board? Did you go to the planning board?
No,
So you never went there?
because it's not required now. I filed with them. Planning staff reviewed the application, and I filed actually before the town meeting.
Okay.
But the way the statute is worded, they'd already advertised the zoning change, so what was applicable then is the zoning amendment as it would pass on November 15th. So we met with staff, and the proper approach, and staff and I agreed with that approach, is that it really should be filed to come here. So as you can see, it was actually filed with the ZBA before town meeting as well, but it was filed in anticipation of that zoning change. It's a little
Crazy for us,
complicated.
too,
Yeah, under the old regulations,
Yeah.
this would not have required the variance. It would have required a special permit and site plan modification. It no longer requires site plan modification, and it requires a special permit from you as well as the setback variance.
Okay, that's clear. Thank you. All right, I'll start with John.
I am ready. Attorney McCann, I many times like to pride myself in knowing all the information, but this is somewhat new, I think, to all of us here on the board, too. So I've got a few questions, so just bear with me. So prior to the change in our bylaws, this would be special permit, but through the planning board?
Correct.
Correct, okay. I'm 1 for 1.
Yeah, you're doing good.
And now that it's, now are you saying in our town bylaw change that all outdoor storage containers will now come through this board via special permit?
If they are proposed to be long-term,
More than 180 days?
yes,
Okay,
and that used to be planning board, it's now
Okay.
you.
okay, I've got you, I've got that part. So, is this an open-ended request you're asking for?
It
Like-
would be part of this, yes, it would be part of this business.
But this board, through its special permit, can set a timeline on that or ask you to come back?
I suppose you could condition it.
Okay. And you'd be willing to take something of that nature?
I guess we need to understand the reasoning for that, but if that's a condition that the board would want to
Okay.
impose, we could discuss that, sure.
I mean, I'll speak for myself and not the entire board, but my reasoning would be that I think this is part of what's led us to this, is that these trailers just tend to stay forever, and they're an eyesore. And so I wouldn't be in favor of something that is just open-ended, but that's probably more for my comments. And the two that do not meet the setback at 11 feet, if they were further away from the side setback, they would, or they would still be here before us?
They would not, if they could meet the setback, then they wouldn't require the variance.
But they would still need the special permit?
Correct.
Okay, I think I'm following you. And talk to me about the vegetation that surrounds that area. So and I speak to this because it just happened on one of my properties that a neighbor cut some vegetation, but on my side. Does some kind of maintenance need to be done to keep these trailers free and clear, even if there's a canopy that hangs over them?
No, I wouldn't think so. There's a canopy that hangs over them, but that vegetation, the entire area that you see that's dotted is paved. The vegetation that you see is the canopy, right?
I understand, but that's probably outside the paved area.
Correct,
So
and
what
so
I'm
that would be
asking, is there
fine.
gonna be a need for Salem Plumbing here to trim these trees straight up with the fence line to have them not interfere with these trailers?
I don't know. Austin, do you know the answer? You don't think so? No, they shouldn't. They
And
shouldn't need
related to that, so what is the fence height and what are the trailer heights?
The fence height is 5 feet, and then the trailer height is, it's on, we gave you a detail of the trailer height. What is,
Well, I guess without knowing the exact number, so is
8
it,
feet.
so the trailers do exceed the fence?
Yep, they're 8 feet.
8 feet, okay. Well, I don't want to take all the questions from the board, but thank you. I think that clears it up for me a little bit. No further questions.
Thank you. Jeff?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I had the same question, actually, about the height. And maybe we'll hear from some of these abutters across East Coast Road, but would you consider a condition where you'd raise the fence to 8'6" to cover up the trailers? Because previously, you had stated that all the material in that area would be under the 5-foot limit and wouldn't be visible from outside the area.
Which is true. All of the inventory that's going to be stored inside there, the pallets of things and the piping and the inventory and supplies that are outside will all be below the fence.
But now
The
you'll have
storage
4
containers,
trailers sticking 3.5 feet over the fence.
that would be
which,
correct.
maybe some of the abutters wouldn't be happy about. The other question I had was, why wouldn't Salem Plumbing line all 4 of these containers on the northern side in a row so they wouldn't have to go for a variance?
Austin, can I ask you to speak to that, or Jason can speak to it as well?
Good evening. For the record, Austin Turner with Bowler. Grab the mic and go mobile here. All right. So it's a good question. It's one we actually had thought about. So if you can kind of see this dashed outline in here, this kind of faint dashed outline, that's the area for where we had some of the external and outside display that was previously in front of this board in which you had approved. In order to maintain, I guess, an access corridor to that, forklift or whatever product, whatever vehicles delivering and accessing that, if we were to take these 2 trailers and kind of relocate them over here, would pinch them too tightly. So when those doors on the trailer open up and you have to get some kind of vehicle in to maneuver and grab product, you wouldn't be able to do that. So we put them more close to that front boundary, and hence the need for the relief to make this kind of functional and tangible for the folks over at Salem Plumbing, and then maintain that access corridor and have appropriate spacing in between so that they're accessible.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have no other questions, Madam Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So if you were to meet the setbacks, this is just my thought process, and move those 4 trailers right to the center of the lot, the center of the fencing, touching each other, wouldn't you have enough access to go around from the outside with the forklift to those containers? I'm just trying to get a way to meet this setback and not have to give you a variance.
No, I understand the question. So, and just not questioning you, but so I understand the question, you're suggesting if we took these and basically
Put
connected
to
them,
the
right?
center and abut each other.
You
What would your setbacks be on either side then?
You could probably, this space right here would be probably just enough to get
Setback,
the
yeah,
trailer or the trailer inside, or I guess outside of the setback, if you will.
The doors are on the end.
Right, the doors are on the end.
Doors are, yeah, no, all right, and you're saying put
So,
the doors back to back,
Opening doors in
essentially.
the front, opening doors in the back?
You could probably accommodate that
Easily.
operationally,
Yeah.
getting in here, I think if we had enough room in
I
here.
guess the whole reasoning you're saying is for a forklift to go down the center and be able to access each container.
Well, yeah, be able to access the area in the back as
That's
well.
why you only have
with a
11
pallet.
feet.
Correct.
Oh, so you see what I'm saying?
I do.
If you butted them
So I
together,
think
you just have to
just
go
move
on
them.
the outside of the
you're
containers.
saying use the front setback as an access corridor to the swing around here, and also to get back to the storage area. I think that it seems like a reasonable.
Matter of getting the forklift in there, correct?
It's a matter of getting the forklift in there, correct? Yeah.
You have to
Hi,
go to the
please go to the mic
microphone,
and
please.
identify.
Thank you.
So we've got the forklift and then the pipe. So the pipe's going to be wider than the forklift, obviously. So we have pallets of pipe. So as long as the forklift and the pipe can fit, then it's a possibility. So we'd have to probably run.
Madam
some
Chair,
numbers.
can we have him identify himself?
I'm sorry, Jason Savanor, President, Salem Plumbing.
So a forklift can go up to 20 feet high, can it? Right up over the containers? I don't know. I used to drive a forklift in the service, so.
It could. We don't. It would just make it more challenging because it's cast iron. A lot of it's cast iron pipe.
Okay.
But maybe. Yeah, we could run it and see. I'd have to get the pallet sizes, and then we could see if it would work. I'm not opposed to it.
Okay.
Worth considering.
Sure.
I'm wondering how much setback they would gain to this side,
I don't think it would have.
moving
you're
them to the,
saying
I'm
move
saying
it right-
move them into here, side by side. And then have the doors entrance here, here, and on this side, here, here, so they can get into it, or either side.
So can I interrupt?
Yeah,
you?
that- absolutely. Thank you,
So,
Madam Chair.
do you need to access the trailer, the storage containers on both ends or only one end?
Just the front,
One end.
most likely.
So what about if you back them all straight up to that back wall, that back fence, and put them side by side?
If we turned them this way?
Turn them, yeah, so that
Or
they're
that.
backed right up to that back fence, and they could be right next to each other, right?
The potential issue, well, we're going to be loading pipe inside some of these storage trailers, so the goal was to drive the forklift in and then have the pipe be, I mean, we could probably, if we could swing it around and then load it that way.
So how many feet are the storage containers? I'm taking your time, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
I think
I
they're,
would've
I
asked
think
the
they're
same thing.
around 20.
How many, well, it says,
What's it say on
20
there?
feet.
20 feet, yeah.
And how wide is the space?
About 8 feet wide.
No,
No,
the
yeah.
whole
Yeah, the whole,
width.
This dimension here?
Yeah, it's not on the plan.
No, it's probably approximately 50, maybe a little more than 50 feet.
50.
it's 41.9 feet.
Says 8 by 20
So
by 8 and a
42?
half.
It's right here, it's
So-
41.9.
So say 42 and the trailers are 20, so you would have half of the space, and you wouldn't have to give up all the space you have on the outside edge of each of those.
We're trying to
Containers.
avoid to granting a variance, because a variance is permanent. Variance is there forever.
And a variance is
So-
a very high bar. It says you can't have any other way of doing something except to be granted the relief.
Do you want to think about it and we'll come back, or
Yeah,
I'll finish
because-
the questions? and-
Yeah, I
and-
can absolutely appreciate it. I think if, it might be easier if we push them as
Straight
previously.
back to the wall.
Straight to the wall
Yeah.
and put, because from a loading perspective, that might work, that might
And you
work
could
fine.
put them right next to each other, right?
Yeah,
Definitely.
And then you wouldn't have all that open
You'd have
extra.
22 feet on this
yeah, we
side.
could try that. We could rerun it, sure. I'll get the pallet sizes and the pipe size, yeah, might work.
All right, let me finish
see
the
why not.
questions from the board, and then we'll see if you guys want to try to work that out. We could take a few minutes and, are you all set?
Yeah, the only other question I had was about the height, but they answered that, so
Okay,
8.5 feet.
8.5.
go ahead, Ken.
I had a question about the height too, but that's been answered, and I think a lot of questions have been answered. Thank you.
Okay. Corinne?
I just have a couple quick questions. When either staff or customers come with trucks to pick up the goods that is stored there, how are they gonna access or get down to where the storage unit is? Are they gonna go through, kinda like through the mall and then, or through that entranceway and go over? Or will they be accessing that entrance on East Coast Road?
No, the entrance is not off of East Coast Road. Georgia, can you put up the site plan? The next, you have a next sheet?
You can drive in there from East Coast Road.
No, I know, but I'm just wondering about like the traffic flow on East Coast Road, if now all of a sudden there's like a pickup spot there.
I don't know if they're gonna, the question
just
is, are
goes
they
to the
gonna be
dump.
picking up from that
Right,
location?
right. So I know how you drive into kind of the strip mall, and you would kind of go off to where plumbing supply is.
Yep.
But my question is, will contractors or customers be able to access that from East Coast Road and thereby, increase traffic on that road? Or will they be required to go through like the main entrance and like kind of take that left and go down to where Salem Plumbing is going to be?
Yeah, right, it's not the public generally? Not generally. Okay, so this storage area is not generally for customer access. This
Okay.
is for materials that are stored, and then the employees typically go in and get it out for
Okay.
the customer.
Okay, and so then you would bring whatever supplies then back to a pickup spot where the customer would be?
Right.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any other questions.
John?
You want to go before me?
Yeah, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Okay. So, go ahead. Are you okay?
I'm fine.
So I took a swing through the plaza, and it's was a lot of trash out in the back, a big kind of a mess, and there is a fence around, must be where you're getting ready to move into, that, I don't know. I mean, I guess the question is, who's going to keep it cleaned up? You know, we already have the dump there, it smells. You know, how is it going to be cleaned up?
So this site has been undergoing some renovation, some significant renovation. There are a lot of new tenants going in to this area, and it has also been condoed. So Jason has actually purchased this unit.
Okay.
So he is going to be responsible for keeping his unit and things neat, as well as the association. So it's kind of undergoing some changes. You've seen at the other end of the building with ABC Supply, the roofing company, there's renovations going on for some other tenants in there. So the owner of the property has really been trying to re-tenant this whole space. So yes, there's some construction going on now, but ultimately it is going to be basically, for the much of it, owner-occupied, and a condo association that's going to be responsible for making sure that everything is operated properly.
Because typically, if we have a plaza and we're trying to deal with a special permit or a variance for a tenant, we would ask the owner of that plaza to come in and clean up the area before we would approve the tenant. So that's, my question is, I would imagine that Salem Plumbing, knowing you're going to keep your area cleaned up, but it did not look good when I went in there.
What day were you there?
It was yesterday or Saturday? It was Saturday.
Saturday. So they do, the condo association have people that, some of that, there's been like dollar store carts, like with stuff, like, so we're new to the spot as well, right? So we're seeing some stuff, but also from construction. So the construction stuff is very much our responsibility. The fencing that you're seeing is for our loading dock. They're getting ready to start excavating.
Yeah.
But we hope to be done by, I think it's January 7th, everything will be done, and we'll be, so we've got a three or four more weeks of construction, and then after that, we're good. So
Okay.
that's temporary fence that you're seeing. The site work, they were doing some demolition, so that might have been some of the mess maybe you saw, but that is now done. And hopefully, and I'll make sure I talk to my construction team that they keep it neat. They work really hard to, so I'm
Okay.
sorry if you saw something.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
John?
Yeah, so this says to expand on Corinne's question or point. I guess I want to understand the operation a little more, because, you know, when you came before us in August or July, you know, it was a little bit different than what you're asking now. And hearing the owner talk to, you know, what will be stored in these storage containers, cast iron pipes, PVC, et cetera, whatever's associated with Salem Supply. But what I guess I'm trying to understand is, I guess I have a hard time believing if you have a customer coming to make a large pickup of, say, 10 cast iron pipes, I can't see your staff taking those 10 cast iron pipes out of those storage containers, bringing them into your unit number 3 here, into your store, if you will, and then having the customer pick it up from there. That seems like 2 moves to me. So I guess just tell me how, especially larger orders, when the product's coming from those storage units is going to get picked up, and where will that take place?
So normally, excuse me, if there's a large, what we call underground order, so it's cast iron, and if it's several hundred feet, we're gonna deliver it. No, they don't pick it up. Their trucks can't, they don't have the room
So
on
do
their
you
trucks.
have kind of a cutoff of, hey, if it's more than X amount of feet, you come pick it up, over this, we deliver?
No, we'll deliver anything they want. It's just so, but ordinarily, plumbers don't have room on their truck for, we have big box trucks, so we can load it on our box truck and drop it off.
All right, so tell me about that. That box truck, how are you loading it, and where is that gonna take place?
So that would, we would probably, there's two ways. We're still gotta figure it out and see what works best, but my guess is that we would probably back up into the fenced-in area and load it that way. When customers do come in, they may ask for a stick of pipe and fittings. So the fittings, they'll call, best practices, they call us ahead of time, and then we stage it. So we're gonna have a will call area, so we'll box up in a big cardboard box.
But that's in your store?
That'll be in our store. So they'll pull up it in the front, and then we'll hopefully take it out for them and load their truck.
So these trailers need to be kind of situated in your storage area to allow your own box truck to be able to get in there, to be loaded for these larger deliveries? Unless you're just gonna plan to park it out on the road here, and I think to Kareen's point, that's what we're a little worried about.
We have a loading dock that we're gonna park our truck at, but,
So your forklift will bring material over to the loading dock?
yes, if we need it.
I mean, we're not trying to run this, but I've just, my fear is we okay this, and then there's just this nightmare going on down there with access points and trucks blocking driveways and this type of stuff.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. It's, cast iron isn't something that usually, these items aren't high velocity items. They're maybe say B or C items. So all my A's and B's are inside for easy access. This is just very bulky stuff that I have to have that, and it's heavy and dirty, and so it's not something that's ordinarily stored inside. So that's why it's outside.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
And you'll remember you put restrictions. The questions I think that you're asking now have to do with the general operation of the outdoor storage that you approved back in August. And at that time, you did put restrictions on when deliveries could be
Times and
made and
stuff,
things
yeah.
could be picked up.
Do you have anything else?
I do not. Did you have any,
Okay.
did the board have any other questions?
No, we're good with the board. I'm going to go to the audience if you're all set.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. And then I'm going to ask you whether or not you want to change your proposal to us, or do you want to take some time to come back?
I think,
I'm going to go to the audience first, but you can talk about it while I'm doing that if you want.
all right, I think what I can tell you now is, given the dialogue that we've had tonight and looking at the storage trailers, we would be willing to withdraw the request for the variance, and we'll be able to work out where the storage trailers are going within that fenced-in area. So the only thing that would be before you is what used to be before the planning board,
Special
which is
permit.
the special permit
Okay.
to allow long-term storage, the 4 units within this fenced-in area.
Okay, okay, great. So I'm going to go to the audience. Are there any questions or comments from the audience? Mr. Duggan?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Matthew Duggan, Selectman. If Ms. Pendergrass can put up the previous slide, yeah, this one. I'm happy to hear that the variance was temporarily withdrawn, at least, because I think 10 feet from the right-of-way is too close. I just wanted to point out one other area about the wetlands. And I
Okay,
know the conservation agent for the town told me that that's not really applicable here. But if you've been out to the site, there's a large pond up here, and right behind this fence is a significant drop-off down into vegetated wetlands. And there's not really much space on this side of the fence to do really any kind of work. And that's important because we heard earlier that there wouldn't be any hazardous hazardous substances stored in these trailers. And I'm not sure how we would monitor that, but that's a significant, could be a significant impact if there was some type of spill out of these containers. We heard that there's just basically pipes and valves and that type of thing, but I think that's something that the board...
I think we have people in town that would be able to monitor that.
Well, to Madam Chair's comments about the trash, there's trash down in those wetlands now. That should be maybe a condition that whole site is sort of in limbo, it seems.
Yeah.
So I would have that as a condition that be cleaned up and kind of, not necessarily a restoration, but at least make it look more like a more natural setting. That's all I have at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, thank you. I don't know if that land is part of the Newberry Street property, or if it's part of the shopping center property. I guess we can just say to you that, I mean, you don't want to be in a messy area either. You want to have a nice-looking facility, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the original owner of the shopping center has only owned it for a year and a half or so, and is re-tenanting, as I said, and is putting a lot of effort into getting what was 80% vacant now tenanted. And so there's work going on, but absolutely, it will be.
Have the condo documents been filed already?
Yes, yes. And the unit has been conveyed. The applicant owns the unit.
Okay, I didn't even see that.
And your agent here tonight is also the agent for the Conservation Commission, so
Yeah.
if there are any issues down there, the Conservation Commission would do what they do with regard to that. But certainly Salem Plumbing has been in business for a very long time and is bringing their business to Danvers, and they want to make a good show in Danvers, so they will operate well.
All right. Okay, so if that's all set, I'm going to go to deliberations. Okay? John,
Thank you,
start
Madam
with
Chair. So, Attorney McCann, my feeling is that somebody that needs 4 storage containers is in too small of a site. With that said, I would like to see this work for this applicant, but I don't think I can vote for it open-ended, as I alluded to earlier. So if you'd be willing to take a condition to maybe revisit this in a year, I think it gives us an opportunity to check in and see how it's going, see if indeed things have been cleaned up, if the roads aren't being blocked, if the vegetation hasn't been chopped down, if the if things are just going well. So that's where I would be on the special permit side. And I'm glad to see you want to withdraw the variance. I think that's the right thing to do because it does look like that area is large enough. But again, my argument would be that perhaps the unit that this applicant is looking to get isn't big enough, because all this storage that has to be outside, to me, you need a bigger store. But that's where I'm at. Would you be willing to take a condition to visit with us a year from now?
How about, when I think of special permits, I usually think in terms of 2 years and now 3 years. How about a check-in in 2 years after we're up and operational and the plaza is up and operational?
Well, I'll defer to the rest of the board. I would prefer a year, but I'll go with the will of the board.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't have an issue with the 2 years. I do have an issue with a 5-foot fence, and I'll wait for my other board members, but if it were an 8-foot fence, I'd be a lot happier.
Okay.
9 foot.
I do
Right now.
agree, we need to revisit this. You're at 2 years, we're at a year, how about a year and a half?
Let's make a
Pardon.
deal.
I'm okay with the special permit, only because of the fence. If there was no fence there, I would be totally against it, but, so I'm okay with it.
Ken?
I'd like to see a taller fence too, like Jeff mentioned, because we don't have any abutters here, or any neighbors, but I think it would just look a lot better to hide those. If we had a fence as high as the containers. And so there's people right across the street, correct? That can see?
It-
There's a neighborhood across the street.
There is a trailer park. It is a trailer park across the street.
Yeah, so I just think it would look nicer, or it would look better with a higher fence. And also, at least 2 years. I mean, 2 years would probably be fine.
Corinne?
That's all I get.
Thank you.
I agree. I think the fence should be at least as tall as the storage containers. And I agree with John. I think a year is a good time to come back for a review. And it would give the abutters an opportunity, if there were any issues, to voice their opinion.
Okay, and I'm okay with the 2 years. I mean, when do you think you would open?
Early 2022, so hopefully February.
Like a month?
He said February.
Okay, okay. So, I would be okay with 2 years. I don't know if the fence needs to be 8. If they push all the trailers to the back, I don't know if the whole fence needs to be 8 feet. I think the part that faces East Coast Road, possibly that should be higher. But I mean, we have all kinds of trucks and craziness going on across the street at that other company that does tree trimming, et cetera. So, I mean, that's much worse than what
It's a
this would
disaster.
be. So, I'm okay with 2 years, and if they could push the front of the fencing up a little bit, just the part on the road. But I wouldn't, if you don't want to do that, I'm okay with, if you don't want to do it.
I think with the trailers, with the withdrawal of the variance for the setback, and we're now having the trailers all meeting the 25-foot setback requirement, so they're pushed back quite a ways from the street. Putting in the additional fencing is going to be quite an additional expense to replace that fencing. It also could trigger a filing with the Conservation Commission to do work within the buffer zone. That's not a small request. The trailers are being proposed for the storage to keep things that shouldn't be out in the weather, materials that shouldn't be out in the weather, to keep them out of exposure to weather. And it also provides, I think, some neatness in keeping materials that you would otherwise have out in
Loose.
potentially loose in the area. So I think moving the storage trailers back to meet the setback requirement kind of accomplishes a neatness issue. And really, increasing the height of that fence is not a small deal and could be cost prohibitive. We don't have any problem with coming back and visiting with you and demonstrating that we have operated in a neat manner and kept it in a neat condition.
Can I, just Ken wants to say
Thank you,
something.
Madam Chair. Well, I think us revisiting it in the 2 years, we're gonna find out if there's any rumblings of people, upset with the fence height and whatnot. So I think we should just revisit it then,
Yeah.
as far as the fence height.
And if, are you saying that they will push the trailers to the back?
They're going to push them to meet the 25-foot setback, which is,
Right.
is going to be to the back. So we wouldn't need a variance anymore.
Okay. Okay.
Withdrawing the variance.
So then you're really not going to see them from the front anyway, because they're going to be back so far.
Right.
Okay. So can we leave with them where they are and do 2 years? Are you okay?
I like the year and a half.
Well, let's go.
I
A
think
year
that's
and
a
half, let me-
compromise.
We'll do a year and a half. We'll do,
Huh?
we'll do
Year
a
and a
year
half.
and a half.
Okay, a year and a half from January 1st? Do you want to?
How about February 1st, because that's when they're going to be occupying.
And I would just ask Attorney McCann, to Becky's earlier point, I know they're under construction there, but construction sites can be a lot more cleanly than what's going on out there. And if they could just put some effort into that,
I don't
because,
think it was their trash.
well, I understand, but
I'm
that's
just-
what happens
yeah.
at these plazas. Everybody's saying it's
To be
the other
fair.
guys, right?
Yeah, to
And
be
meanwhile,
fair.
it all just stays there. So if we could just,
I will make sure that the
because normally we
owners
wouldn't
of the other
approve
units
anything
know
that was that messy.
Yep. I will make sure that the,
But yes,
the
Madam
owner
Chair,
of
I'm
the
fine
plaza
with
knows
that at a year and a half.
So we're going to do the special permit, no variance, and we're going to review, ask you to come back in a year and a half from February 1st.
I can make a motion.
Okay,
Madam Chair, I move that we grant the special permit
you're okay with that, right? Okay.
in accordance with Section 9.4 of the Danvers Zoning Bylaw to allow long-term storage, outdoor storage of 4 storage containers to be located within an existing outdoor storage area for longer than 180 calendar days. And a condition that the applicant will revisit us a year and a half from February 1st, 2022, to give us an update on operations. The municipal water and sewer shall not be overloaded by the storage containers. The public streets shall not become overloaded by the storage containers. The value of other buildings and properties shall not be depreciated by the storage containers. The specific site is an appropriate location for the storage containers. The storage containers will not adversely affect the neighborhood. There will not be undue nuisance to vehicles and/or pedestrians. Adequate and proper facilities will be provided to ensure the proper operation of the proposed storage containers. The storage containers will be in harmony with the general purpose of the bylaw.
I'll second.
could I ask just, I just want to be clear that in a year and a half, we come back to you for a status update, just a review, a status review.
Yeah.
We're not reapplying or anything like that.
Correct.
It's a okay,
Correct.
thank you.
You seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and we just want to withdraw the variance, is that all right? Can we make a motion?
Yeah, you should make a motion.
Madam Chair, I move that we withdraw the dimensional variance for 20 Arch Meadow Drive, docket 21-4958.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you so much.
I'll be in touch.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you for cooperating, thank you. Yep.
Okay, our next case is 10 Washington Street Extension. This is zoned R2. Request for a special permit in accordance with Danvers Zoning Bylaws, Section 9.3, Extended Family Living Areas, to allow an EFLA connector area with a front-facing door. Request made by Monica and Eric Feck, docket 21-4960.
Good evening. Good evening again. My name is Nancy McCann. I'm here on behalf of the applicant, Monica and Eric Becky, owners of the property at 10 Washington Street Extension. The property is located in the R2 zoning district. Also with me tonight is Rob Gula? Close enough? Gula, the project architect. And we are requesting a special permit to allow an EFLA to be constructed on the property located at Washington Street Extension. And we are here owing to the fact that the existing home on the property is non-conforming. All aspects of the EFLA that's being proposed are conforming to the EFLA requirements and to the design standards under the zoning bylaw. What we have at the existing site is a single-family home that was constructed approximately 1892. There is a detached single-car garage and a detached shed also located on the property. And you see those outlined on your plan. This is the existing single-family home, about 1892. The single-car garage is located right here in dash, and then the shed is located behind that. The existing home is non-conforming as to the front setback in the R2 zoning district, which requires a 30-foot front setback, and the existing home is about 12 feet front setback. The existing single-car garage is also non-conforming as to the front setback. The proposal is to keep the existing single-family home as is. We're not touching that single-family home. We are removing the existing non-conforming garage and the shed and constructing a fully conforming addition to the single-family home. That addition will consist of a connector area and a two-car garage, and at the rear of the two-car garage will be the EFLA. Again, the addition that's proposed is fully conforming. The addition meets the front setback requirement of 30 feet, and the addition meets the side setback requirement of 15 feet. There'll be a two-car garage, and then behind the two-car garage is the EFLA. Great care has been taken by the architect and by the applicants to design an EFLA that meets all of the design requirements for an EFLA under the zoning bylaw, under the new EFLA zoning section, and to design an addition that's going to complement the existing home, retain the single-family home appearance of the property, as well as meet the design standards, and provide an EFLA for the applicant's mother. The EFLA itself meets all of the requirements, the design standard requirements for an EFLA. A floor plan has been provided with the application. The EFLA itself is 748.98 square feet, the maximum requirement being 750 square feet permitted. The layout maintains the internal access and circulation from the EFLA and within the existing single-family primary dwelling area by means of a communal shared habitable common space, and that's shown as the habitable sitting area on your floor plan. The EFLA is not visible from the street. The EFLA is going to be behind the garage, and again, fully conforming to the setback requirements. But for the fact that the existing single-family home that we're not changing, but for the fact that that is non-conforming, we wouldn't have to be here. The reason we have to come for the special permit is the addition proposed is an addition to a non-conforming structure, even though our addition is fully conforming. So under the new EFLA bylaw, if the existing 1892 single-family home were set back 30 feet, we could do the proposal that we're showing you with a building permit. But because the existing single-family home is closer than 30 feet, so it's non-conforming. We have to come to you for a special permit for the EFLA. I did request, out of an abundance of caution, a waiver under section 9.3.3 for the new door that is being proposed. We have a new door in the connector area. Under the design standards, it says that the EFLA's new door needs to be on the side or the rear. This new door is on the front. It doesn't go into the EFLA. It goes into the connector area that's connecting the single-family home to the garage. So technically, it's not a new door to the EFLA, but I've asked for that waiver, and we meet the requirements for that in that it will not have a detrimental impact on municipal services or a detrimental impact on adjacent properties, and that's the new standard under the bylaw for that type of a waiver. So we meet all of the requirements, we believe, under Section 9 for the EFLA, as well as meeting the requirements under Section 30 for the special permit. I'd like to turn it over to the architect to walk you through the design and the floor plan for the EFLA.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Rob Gulla. My address is 593 Essex Avenue, Gloucester, Mass. He really did all the work for me. So you can see again, this is the existing house which we designed for the Feckies. We renovated and added on to it probably 8 years ago or longer now. But this is the main house. This is that connector we were talking about. We painstakingly, when you come down the road, we were concerned that this structure, this new effluent garage, was going to take away from what we spent a lot of time doing many years ago. So when we did this, we had to really work at trying to save the view as you come down and not, lack of a better term, disturb the view. But the reality is, so here, you really can't see it in these two dimensions, but we've pulled the roof back a little bit of the garage to, again, so it wasn't too up front towards the street, where again, when you come down the road, you can still get, I don't know if the image, the picture they took is available to the board. They are.
George, do you have the photograph of the existing? I'll put it right now.
Most of us have probably been out there.
Okay, so you get it. You saw it, yeah.
Oh, yes.
So, okay, so you can see what's going on. This side of the house is going to get obscured. This is their kitchen. So it was really hard. We're jammed up against, obviously, the wetland, no disturb zone. So, and the garage is obviously not only falling down, but wouldn't even fit the cars that are there now. So we pushed things back. We peeled the roof back a little bit. You can go back to the drawings if you don't mind, sorry.
Sorry. Not as smooth as the video.
So, and just one other item, this set of stairs right there is not there anymore. It's just a balcony with a door. It doesn't exist anymore. It was too confusing before, so we got rid of that stair, and this is the main stair to the house. So this is the EFLA, this is the two-car garage. Again, this is actually pushed back 10 feet, so when you come down the road, you actually get to see some of this architecture. So this is the connector. As you come around to this is the side of the neighbors. There's very little going on for obvious reasons. I'm sure the neighbors don't want to stare at them and vice versa. So we have very little windows. This is a window to the garage. This is a side garage door. This is the bedroom. And this is a covered porch area. Pretty straightforward. And this is the rear of the house. This is looking from the backyard at the architecture. Here is the existing house. This is the connector now. And this is the EFLA right here. And again, we really haven't come up with a design yet. We didn't want to go too far with too much drawing and time and energy spent if this didn't happen. So we're really not sure what the EFLA, but it's probably gonna be almost like a sunroom, all windows and glass. That was the goal, because they have a beautiful backyard. I'm not sure if you saw that. This is probably gonna be just a large sunroom, to say the least. After that, if you wanna go to the floor plan briefly. Okay, so, can you, yeah, that's good. Oop. So you can, unfortunately, the hatching is, this is obviously the darker hatched area, this is the EFLA, here's the back patio, this is the sitting area, living, this is kitchen and dining, bedroom, bathroom, powder room, this is the two-car garage, and here's that sunroom that's probably going to be, again, mostly glass and windows, whatnot. And this is the existing stair structure out back. As you can see, again, this is the street side, so everything is in the rear. Technically, you shouldn't see, if we do this right and we get some screening on the side here with some plantings, we should be able to, as you come down the road, pretty much obscure that whole side of the EFLA. Other than that, I don't know if you have any questions?
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll go to the board for questions. Corinne, I'll start with you.
I have a few questions. As far as the sitting room, it doesn't state on your plans, but what is the square footage of that room?
This room here,
Yes, the sitting room.
I didn't do the math, but I'd say it's probably 10 by 10 or 12 by 12, so 100 square feet, give or take.
Okay. And on the project narrative, it states that there's the two-car garage, and then in front of the two-car garage, you have enough space. You'll be able to park 4 outdoor cars there?
Yes.
Okay, so 6 cars in total,
Yeah.
which is great because there really isn't, there really isn't much street parking. So, so that's definitely a perk.
Yep.
And that is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
So the door in the back, or in the EFLA, is that coming out of like near the bedroom?
So this is the entrance to the EFLA, here's the entrance to the garage,
Okay.
and there's the entrance out of the connector from the sunroom, we'll call it.
So there's no other door out into the
The
backyard?
one down here.
Okay, all
We
right.
have to have 2 egresses.
Yeah, all right. There it is. That's what I was looking for on the back there.
And just another quick note, one of the reasons we looked at doing things over here as well, but there is a large sewer easement that slices right through here that made it impossible to put it anywhere else.
Okay, I have no more questions. Thanks.
Thank you.
I have no questions, thank you.
Okay.
I have no questions.
And John?
Attorney McCann, so the sitting room, that 100 square feet or 120 square feet, that's part of the EFLA, or?
No.
No.
No, that's the common area that goes into the breakfast area, I think it is, of the main house.
Correct.
And then the EFLA, door into the EFLA is off of that sitting area. But that sitting area is the common area that can be used by the entire family.
And that's not part of the calculation for the EFLA?
That is correct. That is excluded under the new
Okay.
regulations.
Georgia, can you bring up that photo again? Yeah. And enlarge it for the blind people, mainly myself? So if you could just pan to the right, so there's already 2 doors on the front of this building, yes?
Yes. So, as you can see, I was saying earlier, this is the main entrance. Oh, did I lose power? I'm losing power. Come on, baby. There we go. So, this is the main entrance right now. This was an old door that we had a long time ago when we did the original we needed 2 egresses on this side. We then put a door on the back that made this door defunct, but rather than get rid of the door, we just got rid of the stairs to the door.
Okay, but now we're adding a 3rd door.
Correct. You will have a third door down. I think I'm losing power.
And I guess I would ask, so
So right here would be that other door, correct?
I don't like the fact that there's already 2 doors, but I like it even less that we're adding a third door. So have we done anything to try to
Now, you can also.
alleviate a door?
Okay, well, we can talk, and just so you understand, that door it's a relatively narrow corridor, similar to what you see there now. It is 20 feet back. It is not right up in the plane. You would actually have to look down that alleyway to see that door.
Yeah,
Doesn't
no, I
make it go
understand
away.
that. I understand that, but
Okay.
I think part of our criteria with EFLAs is we don't want 2 front doors, and not only does this building now have 2, but you're asking for a third.
They had 2 to begin with.
Yes.
My question is, what have we done to try to eliminate 1 door?
Well, the thing is, regardless of whether there was an EFLA here, if you just said we're going to get rid of this single car falling down garage and we want to put an attached garage onto this structure, it is very common to have that kind of an entrance door. You have your two garage doors, and then you have like entrance into a breezeway or a mudroom, or in this case, a sitting area. So that's a very common design. What the board has looked to eliminate is having extra doors put in the front that go into the EFLA that make it look like a duplex.
Gotcha.
And I think this design avoids that because of the way it's designed, the way, as Rob said, it sets back, and the fact that that door goes into this new mudroom area. It does not go into the EFLA.
It
EFLA
also
doors
goes
from
into the
back.
garage as well?
It leads into the garage.
Right.
And the other thing is, there is no other access point other than getting in. Otherwise, they have to go around the house because our door is here and our door is here. So
And
we're
more
just trying to-
importantly, what's going to happen to the chickens?
Relocated to the other side.
So is there you'll be putting an additional shed or something for the chickens?
If we do, we'll come back for it.
Okay.
I
No
don't-
further
we don't
questions.
plan on it.
Thank you.
Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have any questions. Are there any questions or comments from the audience? Okay, go back to deliberations.
I would vote for this. I kind of agree with John, though. I do think that first door is kind of odd. But, I mean, I guess it is what it is. But if there was any way to eliminate that first one, I would be all for that, since it's not even a usable door as of now. But I would vote for this.
Ken?
So you said the stairs were eliminated
No questions.
to,
It's
oh, I'm
comments.
sorry, I had one, yeah. So I guess I think that other, I thought it was a duplex too when I went by yesterday. I mean, it had the 2 front doors, but I guess one isn't being used. And it seems like there's no stairs there anyway, so I just wonder why, I guess for
So they can
aesthetics.
get out to the porch, I guess.
Yeah, oh yeah, true. But, yeah, I would vote for it anyways.
All right.
Yeah, I will vote for this. Essentially, I think, John, that door on the right at this point is basically a slider to get out on the deck.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And they could by right put a slider in there and eliminate that door. So I don't really
Door on
count
the
that
left,
as a
you mean.
door.
Huh?
Door on the
Far
left.
right.
It just goes out to the deck. There's no
Yeah.
access to the house
Right.
via that. So I'm okay with it. I think it's gonna look good. I like the door set back. I think it looks great.
Okay. Jeff?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, I agree with Ken. I don't like 3 front doors, but that door they're adding is so far back. It's not going to be, I mean, on the elevation, it looks right
looks
like
right.
like it's out front, but it's going to be set way back. And, if we had our druthers, we wouldn't want 2 front doors in the original building, but that's the original building,
Yeah.
so we're kind of stuck with that. So I'm all in favor. The addition looks very nice. I think it's a good plan. And we're eliminating a couple of things in the front setback, so
Yucky.
I'm all for it.
John?
Yes, I too will vote for this. I think you got a nice little slice of heaven back there. And it's, can appreciate your lot, and glad you're keeping your chickens and moving them over, so. And I think to get rid of that garage is a great thing, and sounds like you're gonna help family here, so I would vote for this. And I will make a motion after your.
And I will vote for this.
Okay.
So go ahead.
Madam Chair, I'll move that we grant the special permit in accordance with Section 9.3 of the Danvers Zoning Bylaws to allow a newly constructed extended family living area addition with a front-facing door. The municipal water and sewer shall not be overloaded by the EFLA. The public streets shall not become overloaded by the EFLA. The value of other buildings and properties shall not be depreciated by the EFLA. The specific site is an appropriate location for the EFLA. The EFLA will not adversely affect the neighborhood. There will not be undue nuisance to vehicles or pedestrians, and adequate and proper facilities will be provided to ensure the proper operation of the proposed EFLA. The proposed EFLA will be in harmony with the general purpose of the bylaw.
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Okay, moving on. Our next case is 13 Houlton Street. This is zoned R1. Request for a dimensional variance from section 3.20 of the Danvers zoning bylaw to allow a lot with 27,703 square feet where 30,000 square feet is required. Request for a dimensional variance from section 3.20 for a side yard setback of 10.7 feet where 20 feet is required. Request made by All Saints Episcopal Church of the North Shore, Inc., docket 21-4961.
Good
Thank you.
evening.
Thank you very much. Good evening. My name is Nancy McCann. I'm here on behalf of All Saints Episcopal Church of the North Shore, owner of the subject property located at 13 Houlton Street, also known as 46 Cherry Street. And we are requesting a variance in order to allow the adjustment of the lot line between the church and the abutting residential home at 44 Cherry Street. The church is located on this property here. 44 Cherry Street is the residential neighbor. That had been the rectory for the church years ago. And back in the early 90s, the property was divided. The church property actually divided into 3 parcels. And the lot line for the division between the church property and the former rectory is located right here. There is an existing fence, however, if you went out and looked at the property, that's located here. And there was an agreement at the time of the sale of 44 Cherry Street by the church that 44 Cherry Street could utilize this this area here up to the fence as part of the yard, and has been doing that. However, what we'd like to do is really make official what the use of the property has been. The church doesn't particularly want liability for property that is being used by the abutting property. The abutting property would like to have some additional side yard. If you went out there, you see that the fence, I have some picture I think that I sent to Georgia. So this is the fence here, and that fence is actually 5 feet further from the existing lot line. So the existing lot line really is in this area here. And so what we're proposing to do is simply change the lot line to run along where the fence is now. And that requires a variance because under the zoning bylaw, although we're located in the R1 zoning district, churches have to have 30,000 square feet of area, and they have to have a side setback of 20 feet. Normally in R1, you're talking 10,000 square feet and an 8-foot setback, which the church will meet, but churches have to have a larger area. We're currently non-conforming. We're creating a greater nonconformity, if you will, by changing that side lot line to 10.7 feet. And we're decreasing slightly the area that the church has for its lot. But ultimately, what you look at will not change what's on the ground now and won't change the use of the property. So we're requesting the zoning relief to allow the lot line to be changed to reflect what has been the use of the property, and the division line giving the abutting property a bit more side yard. I'd be happy to answer any questions. I should say Sue Spencer from All Saints Episcopal Church is here, and I believe Craig Torrance here. He is the owner of 44 Cherry Street.
How long has he been the owner?
Since 1990, 98. I believe you were the original purchaser from the church.
1998, okay. And why did this come about now? Do you know?
You know, I think the church is looking at it and saying, we own property on the other side of that fence that's really being used by the neighbor, and there's always potential for liability when that happens. So we'd like to have the lot lines reflect the usage.
So it's been over 20 years, so.
It has, but it was no adverse possession because it was by permission.
Okay, I'll go to John.
Thanks, Madam Chair. Yeah, I did visit the property today. Well, by the way, it looks very nice. It looks like you do a nice job to keep it up. I don't think I really have any questions, so bottom line is the fence isn't going to be changed, and you're just moving this lot line to coincide with the fence.
That's right.
No further questions.
Go ahead, Joe.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, I don't think I have any questions either. I mean, normally we don't like to become more non-conforming, but on the other hand, you could look at 44 and say we're going from 71 to 77 feet where 80 is required. So it's kind of a wash as far as I'm concerned, so I have no questions.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So a deed will be created for this 837 square feet?
Yes, there'll be an A&R plan signed by the planning board, and then a deed.
Perfect, thank you. No further questions.
Okay.
I have no questions.
Looking like a true registry guy.
I have no questions either.
Okay, I have no questions either. Are there any questions or comments from the audience? Boy, they're quiet out there tonight. Okay, we'll go back to John.
Madam Chair, to echo what Jeff said, I normally would not want to create more of a nonconformity, but in this case, I guess we're making a little more of a nonconformity on one and making another better, so I would vote for this.
And I will vote for this.
I will vote for this. Why shake up what's already there?
Yeah.
I would vote for this, too.
I would vote for this.
Okay, and I lived across the street for 9 years and owned the house across the street from that church, so I would be glad to vote for this, so. We'll go ahead.
Madam Chair, I move that we grant the dimensional variance from section 3.20 of the Danvers zoning bylaw to allow a lot with 27,703 square feet of area where 30,000 square feet is required, and with a side yard setback of 10.7 feet where 20 feet is required as shown on the plans provided by the applicant. The hardship is the size and shape of the lot. This condition does not affect other properties or structures in the same zoning district. A literal enforcement of the zoning bylaw would involve substantial hardship to the applicant. In granting this variance will not create a substantial detriment to the public good and will not nullify or derogate from the intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, good luck.
Thank you very much.
Georgia, do we have Mr. McSharer?
Yes,
Okay,
he is here. There he is.
there he is.
There he is.
That was smooth. I wanted to-
There was. Right on cue.
You're like
Can't hear him though, he's on mute.
Okay.
good like an IT.
Good luck.
You ready?
tech
Bye-bye.
Madam Chair?
now.
Ready?
Getting good.
Don't jinx you.
Our final case is 9 Clark Street, zoned R1. Request for a finding in accordance with Section 3.11.1 of the Danvers Zoning Bylaw to expand a non-conforming dwelling by adding a 22-foot by 13-foot 6-inch family room addition with 5-foot 1-inch of side yard setback where
Nice
8
holiday.
feet is required.
Night, Nancy.
Request is made by Ryan McSharer, docket 21-4959.
Ryan, you're still on mute. Sorry. You may want to start over. We didn't hear. You know what? I muted you earlier, so that may be my fault. Hold on a second. Didn't unmute.
See, I did jinx you.
For the audience, we're trying to get the applicant, who is
It says you're muted
remotely
and I can't
coming in,
see.
we hope.
Ryan can hear us?
He can hear us, but we can't hear
Yeah,
him.
it says you're muted. Do you mind?
Need to go back to those old days where we do the sound check at the beginning.
If you want to pop out and pop back in, you're welcome to do that too. No, and your mic's crossed off like you're muted, so. John, you really did. You just,
Kirsten,
It's not my fault,
oh,
man.
he's in here 12.
Should we take a break to try to get it?
Yeah, yeah, do we want to take a?
Okay,
we
so
just-
we're going to take 5 minutes and try to.
Madam
get
Chair,
the-
actually, before we do that, if I could rewind us back to our first application tonight that we asked for them to revisit us in a year and a half. At that point in time, if things aren't going well, what is, and maybe this is more a question for staff, for Georgia, what is our repercussions at that point? If, say, things aren't going well?
Can ask them to straighten
Can
things
can
out,
we-
or we could withdraw the approval, I suppose.
So we can take that permit away?
I believe you do have the right to revoke the special permit or add conditions on after you do that.
Okay. Oh, I'm hearing some scratch.
There we go. Ryan, if you say hello.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah, we hear you
Wow.
nice and loud.
You're
Okay.
loud.
See, my question got us right to the
okay.
Okay.
starting
Boy,
line here.
John.
Beautiful.
All right. Well, thank you. Glad we could overcome the technical difficulties to start. For the record, my name is Ryan McSharer of Red Barn Architecture, number 8 Martin Street, Essex, Massachusetts. And I'm here representing Jason and Jesse Nascimento and their application for a finding from the board to expand a non-conforming single-family structure in the R1 residence district. The existing property is non-conforming. It lacks the required area and the required frontage. Let me just make sure those are the only ones. And then the building itself is non-conforming as it violates the front and side yard setbacks. George, if you could go to the next slide to the proposed site plan.
Other than that,
All right.
This drawing here shows where the addition is proposed. We've got an addition off the rear of the home. Clark Street is on the right-hand side. You can see that the existing front setback is 11.6, where 20 feet is required. And in the area of the addition, 10 feet is required, where we've got 5.1 feet. The existing home is 5.0 feet away from the lot line, so we are not increasing the nonconformity in this area. And section 3.11 of the zoning ordinance allows the board by the use of a finding to allow the project to go on so long as we are not reducing the setback in this area by more than 50%. So the required setback is 10 feet, and we are reducing it by less than 50% at 5.1 feet to the lot line. Other than that, we meet all the other dimensional requirements for the zoning ordinance. The addition itself is only a single story back here in keeping with the massing of the home, and would entertain any questions from the board, or if we need further explanation, I'd be happy to walk through some of the plans of the interior layout if need be.
Could you describe what the addition is going to include?
Sure. The addition will include a family room, a living room off the back, so just expanding the living area of the home to make the home more comfortable for the Nascimentos.
So essentially, it's a family room.
A family room, yes.
Okay, which I'm looking at the plan. It says family room. Okay. All right. Okay. Where are we going?
Kareen.
Corinne,
My only question is about the garage.
microphone.
Ooh. My only question is about the garage. I'm assuming based on the plans that it's staying where it is? You're not making any changes to the garage, correct?
That is correct. The garage is existing to remain, and there are no proposed changes to the garage as part of this project.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Is it a full basement down there? Because I see a bulkhead off the back. Or is it like a crawl space? I'm just wondering.
Yeah, so the intent is to provide a full basement. Right now, there is a bulkhead off of the rear of the home in the area of the existing home back there.
Okay.
And the building code will require us to have two means of egress out of the basement. So we'll have to maintain that bulkhead in some fashion. So we've pushed that to the back of the addition, and we'll have a full foundation under the family room.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep, thanks.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So what's the, it looks like bituminous stone or something, that's just a patio? That's in between the garage and then the new addition?
That is correct. Yep, a patio space, a hardscape to connect the existing driveway back to the backyard.
Okay, no further questions, thank you.
I have no questions, Madam Chairman.
Okay.
Mr. McSherry, you keep referencing a side setback of 10 feet, but our side setback is 8 feet. So I'm a little confused. I know you're proposing, it looks like a 5.1 foot setback, but our setback is 8 feet.
Correct. I apologize. I misspoke earlier. 8 is the requirement, and we're going to 5.1.
Okay. And I know your narrative said 10 feet too, so I was just, but your drawing is,
Drawing shows 8.
your drawing shows 8, so I just want to make sure we're all on literally the same page. So it looks like the addition is just under 7,000 square feet. And as far as the height, it's basically staying in line with the existing back of the house.
That is correct.
I have no further questions.
Thank you. My only question is there an overhang on the addition? And did you include that in that 5.1 feet?
There is an overhang as part of the addition. We did not include it. The overhang would be about 9 inches.
Because we count the overhang in the setback.
Got it.
So what would that new setback be?
So let's see. That would be, it would still be greater than 4. It would be like 4.6 feet.
4.6.
6, 7, 9 inches? Is it 5 feet 1 inch right now?
5.1.
0.1. So we're converting from engineering to architectural.
Okay. So you're going to say 4.6?
4.6, and yes, and I would say if the board would condition it as no closer than 4.0 feet or the 50% reduction requirement, we'd keep to that.
4 feet. Okay, we'll have to see.
Update the drawing.
Typically, yeah, we might go to half, so it's 8 feet, it would be 4 feet.
I mean, they have a dimension to the existing structure that says 5 feet, but they probably didn't count the overhang in that either.
Correct.
We typically are okay when structures are no more
Right.
non-conforming than what exists, so. Because
Okay,
the
but
building,
now he's saying it's gonna be 4.
well,
4 feet.
because that building steps in,
Yeah,
you know, it's not gonna be worse than what's there.
all right, we'll have to talk about
yeah.
it, so,
I'm good. No further questions.
no, any other question?
He's gonna have to
Okay.
sign off on this plan then, correct?
Yeah,
The new
updated.
dimension.
Yeah. Any questions or comments from the audience? Mr. Duggan?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Matthew Duggan, Selectman. So I didn't have a chance to view this plan or the rear of the property. So looking at the property from the street, on the left side, there's a fence that doesn't really seem to be in a straight line. I think it's right here.
Yeah.
So this is the single-story piece of the house existing?
Between the 5.7
So
and
you
the
see
5.0.
the darkened area there?
This one?
That's the addition.
Oh, okay.
So.
And so this will be kept open space here in the middle?
Yeah, that'll be a patio.
Okay.
A hardscape. So this Clark Street is all the way on the right. You see where it says street?
Yeah, I see that over here.
Okay, so it's basically the addition is gonna be behind the house.
Okay, it just seems strange that when you look at it from the street, the fence in the rear, I don't know, maybe that's not there anymore, I think it is, but it doesn't, it looks like it's in line with the existing dwelling.
Yeah, and then there's a garage that's on the,
Yeah.
it will be between the addition and the hardscape.
Okay. And have the neighbors been consulted on this project?
We didn't receive any opposition letters, so they were all notified.
They're all notified as
Yeah.
abutters.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you very much for the time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Okay, back to the board.
I would vote for this.
I would vote for this as well.
I'm okay with this. I'll vote for it.
I will vote for this.
I too will vote for this, provided the applicant updates the drawing to the new setbacks.
Okay. All right, Georgia, you'll take care of that? Okay. And I would vote for this. It's a tiny lot. You working with what you can work with, so. Can I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move that we grant, this is a two-part finding, grant the finding in accordance with section 3.11.1 of the Danvers Zoning Bylaws to allow the expansion of the non-conforming dwelling as shown on the plans that will be updated, submitted by the applicant, as it will not be more substantially, as it will not be substantially more detrimental than what presently exists.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
I move that the expansion of the non-conforming dwelling, as shown on the plans submitted by the applicant, is appropriate in scale and mass for the neighborhood, with particular consideration of abutting properties.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And could you add, please, that it, no closer than 4 feet?
And we will add that the side setback will not be any more than 4 feet.
Any less than,
Any less than 4 feet,
including overhangs.
including overhang. Good luck.
We're good. All right.
Thank
Vote
you
on
for your
that?
time tonight. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right. Anything else for tonight?
No, I did just have one announcement. December 11th was the deadline for the January 10th meeting. We didn't receive any applications, so there's no items on that.
So
So
we'll
the-
be canceling the January 10th
No
meeting?
meeting January 10th.
No meeting
No
January 10th.
meeting January 10th.
Big break.
Madam Chair, I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Good night, Danvers. Thank you.